everybody, Patty Ann here. I'm going to show you how to make this mug, sublimate this mug. You don't need a cutting machine. You don't need the business edition of Silhouette software. I'm going to show you how to combine images in the Silhouette free version for sublimation. You can sublimate on a mug, on a t-shirt, or you can use that printable vinyl and you could even put it on a t-shirt. So join me. I'm going to show you how to take two images from Creative Fabrica and join those together to make one thing. Now what I've done here is I've taken the one thing and I've changed the text a little bit. It says sunrise, paddle, sunset, and repeat, because my friends and I are going to the beach next week and we like to kayak. We've been kayaking for probably 10 or 15 years now, and we're going to go again, and I'm going to meet them at the beach. And I personalize these with each person's name, right? So I just thought it'd be a little gift to give them when we first get there. So follow me to my screen and let's get started. Okay, these are the 11-ounce mugs that I get from Heat Press Nation. I really like them, but what I usually do is I like to take this and measure around here to see what size I want to make my image. Now I see I can make this one about 4 inches wide and maybe at the most like 3 1/4 or 3.5 inches tall. The reason why I can make this one, I think 3.5, was because of the extra stuff at the bottom, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a sec. But like if we look at this one, we can see that it's about, see those little dots right there? It's about 3.5 inches, and the width of it is about 4 inches, and in my opinion, looks perfect. So let's go up to my screen now. Okay, here are the images that I used, and you can see that this one comes in lots of really cool designs, and you can use them just as they are. They're really cute, but I wanted to change mine up a little bit, and I like that one with the, where'd that go? That one's really cute, but we're not going to hang out and get tan lines on purpose. So anyway, this is the one images set that I use, this bundle. I don't know how much it costs because I have the, what do you call it, the subscription to Creative Fabrica. If you don't have that, I highly recommend it. You will love it. Even if you just get it for a month, you can grab so many things. But anyway, this is the one thing I used. Then I also use this one called Paint Splatters. As I said, I'll have them both linked for you down below. So these are the ones I downloaded. You simply download. If you have the subscription, no cost, just go through here. If you don't have the subscription, you can pay for parts one by one. Okay, this is what my screen ended up looking like at the very end. And all of these things that you're seeing down here were my trials of designing and printing and pasting, wrapping it around my mug. See, this very first one that I had done, I thought, okay, that looks really kind of junky. It's too small. You know, I wanted something larger. So this was my fourth one, and it was getting larger. But then I thought, you know, I think I'd like it with a lot more brighter colors. So this is what I do. I do things on paper, and I test them. Usually I don't have to do this much testing, but this time I did. So let's start at square one, and I'll show you how I got to these. Okay, as you'll notice, there are two different versions here. I did not end up using this one, although I really like how the frame looks around this. So I'll show you how to do that at the end. This is the one I started with. So let me just minimize this one for right now, make it smaller so it doesn't distract us. Move it out of the way. I'll move this one off to the side here. And as you know, there was a white mug behind it. File, let's see, merge. I wonder if I have a mug here right quick. Okay, I'm going to merge a mug mock-up that I happen to have gotten from Creative Fabrica also, so we can see how this might look a little bit. Let's make this a lot, whoopsie, let's delete that, make this a lot smaller, lock the lock, maybe make it 5 inches, hit this button so it comes to the center, there we go. Okay, so I can show you what this is going to look like a little bit. Let's put this, bring it to the front. And you kind of get the idea. I could warp this around with this software to really give you a good view, but I think you get, oops, the idea. Let's go and move it off to the side. So that's what we're going for right now. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to draw a box and then come up here and change its measurements to, what did I say, it was going to be 4 inches wide and 3.5 tall. That's how much space I have for it. And I can make it transparent if I want to by coming up here where the color swatch is, just make that like that. So then I just have a square here that I know I have to fit my things into eventually. I'll move that off to the side for a sec. Now I'm going to bring in the color swatches or the colors. So I'll go to File and Merge, and these are going to come in huge. I'm going to go to the paint splatters. So I'm going to get, let's see, this blue one. I think I'll get the blue one first. Okay. Like I said, it's going to come in huge. Okay, I had to minimize my screen a lot to find that. Oh, and by the way, I got to make sure I'm working in the free version. Let's make sure. View in Basic. I want to go to Basic because I told you this is the free version. We're going to do everything free version. So this is the way it comes in. I'm going to click on it to highlight it, lock the lock here, and I'm going to make this maybe 5 inches wide, and so it gets nice and small like we kind of need. Then I'm going to come up here and go to File and merge in the next color. I'll bring in this green. And you can bring in any shape you want. Maybe I want the green to be like this. So I'll say OK. Comes in huge. Going to grab it to select it. And again with the lock, I'll make this maybe a 4. And I don't know where it went, so I'll hit that key and it comes up there right where I need it to be. Okay, I'm going to go to File, Merge, get the orange, click on it to highlight it, and change its size to maybe a 3. Again, I don't know where it is, so I can come up here to Center to Page, and there it is. File, Merge, get this yellow, love the yellow for some reason. Okay, bring it, because I just think it adds so much brightness. And I'm going to go to, let's change the size. I'll make this one a 5. Just willy-nilly choosing sizes, no biggie. No big deal. And the last one I think is the red one that I used. I did not use the purple. The red. I can just double click on it. It comes in, highlight it, change its size to a 5, and again hit this so it comes up to the front. Okay, so we're off to a good start. Let's scroll in now and move this guy over there. I actually kind of like just the way this is right now, believe it or not. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Just the way I smushed them on top of each other, just like that. I really do like that a lot. I think I'm just going to use it like that. I could stretch these, turn them around, you know, using the little arrow here, this thing, twirl them, but I really like how this turned out. So what I need to do now is to scroll back out, grab all these things, and smush them down, because remember they have to be a certain size. The only thing is, let's see, I might want to go ahead, but I really like it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of these. I think I can do that with the eraser tool. Let's see. Yep, look at that. I can just erase some of these just like that. So it's going to make it so it's not quite as tall. Oh, let's see this guy. Now let's see how big it is. Okay, now it is 4.67 tall. Remember, we can only have it 3.5 tall. So I'm going to have to squish this more. So it's like 3.5. Okay, and let's see what, okay, it's really slim this way. So if I want to, I can just stretch this out like this to make it about 4. And apparently I don't have everything selected. Because just see, the only thing that's scooping out is the blue. So let me grab everything again, and now this time pull it out. We got a little stray piece over here. Did you see that when I went around everything? See that little square? There's a stray piece out there that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, because that's going to affect how wide it is. So again, come back to the selection tool, draw a box around this. So this is 4.25 wide, so I can make it a little bit more narrow. Okay, that's perfect, just like that. I really do like this, just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and group this all together. And I'm going to make a duplicate of it, so I can right click and say duplicate, or I could hold down my Alt key and notice how my hand turns into a plus sign, and that allows me to drag another one off. Okay, so I'm going to bring over that box that I had made before. Remember, that's the box, so that we know for sure this is going to fit on our mug, and that is going to fit like that perfectly. I love it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this sentiment. So I'm going to go to File and Merge, and that I brought in from Creative Fabrica as well. It was from the Summer Bundle, main file. I brought in the JPEG, although I don't think that it really matters. So here it is. And like I said, you can make this just as it is because you may just love it, especially if you like to get out there and in the beach and sunburn, you know, get tanned. But that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing sunrise, paddle, sunset, repeat. I don't know exactly what font they use for these, and I only like to use 2, at the very most 3 different fonts in my things that I work on. So that's why I changed paddle, sunset, and repeat. Over here, if you look on the left, I changed them to the same font. So I have 1 font, 2 font, 3 fonts. Okay. To get started, what I did was this. I came over to the trace tool and I selected the trace area. All I want is the black. So while it's working, there we go, perfect. Now notice it got the darker parts of the frame, which I don't really want. So I'm going to take my threshold down to get rid of that and see if this still looks good. And to me, that still looks really, really good. I'm going to say trace. Okay, that's been traced, so I can remove this. And you know I shouldn't have had my thing back there, but I can actually even delete this. And I think I will because I won't need it right now. All right, let's move this out. So, whoops, I must have forgotten to group a few of those little dots. Let's get them. Group. Because I like all the dots. Did I get them all here? No, let's delete this one. So I'm going to make another duplicate of both of these because I like all those little dots of paint. There's one, and I've made 2. All right, move that over. All right, so now we're to this thing. And again, I'm going to change this text a little bit. So what I can actually do, and I didn't do this before, what I can do is just come over here with the eraser tool and just erase these out of here. But you know, I just erased a star, and I think I want to leave the star. So I'm just going to come in here with the eraser tool, and I can just erase these words right out of here because I'm going to put my own words below the word sunrise. And while I'm doing this, I want you to pay attention to the E at the end of sunrise. Notice how there was that frame there, so that tail end of the E got bumped off because of the frame. I'm going to re-put that on so it's where it's supposed to be. So while I'm doing the eraser tool, and you might like to do this too, every once in a while stop. Because if you make a mistake and accidentally get something like that, and you haven't paused it all, when you hit the undo button, it's going to go undo back to what you started with. So that's why it's smart to hit the stop, you know, let loose of your mouse, and then hold on to your mouse again, and say you make a mistake there. When you hit the undo button, it's just going to go back to where you just were. So I like to pause every once in a while. And by pause, again, I mean just lifting up on my left mouse button so that it ends up like that. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I can actually grab him. Just come over here to this tool right here, the select tool, and just grab this guy and just drag him down here till he touches. You can scroll way in, so you can make sure it lines up perfectly. You can, you know, use the arrow key on your keyboard. That's my favorite thing to use a lot of times. Once you have it overlapping just a bit, then I would just say, grab both of these and say weld. And that welded them together. It looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a jag right here. If I wanted to, and I'm more experienced with Paint, or not Paint Shop Pro, sorry, Silhouette, I can double click on this. And right here, I can click on one of these nodes and get rid of it, and that pretty much smoothed that right out. But you don't really need to worry too much about that. All right, so here's the word sunrise. And now it's a red color. We can change it. Whoops, we need to group it all back together. There's some little dots in here. You notice these little dots? Did you see that when I grabbed this box? See these 1, 2, 3 little things? I'm going to erase those with the eraser tool. I must have missed a few things. So I'm hoping I'm getting them. I can't really see them without enlarging this, but maybe I got them. Let's see. Grab the select tool again, do this. Yes, it looks like I got them all. So what I'm going to do now is just right click and group. And then before I do anything else, I can say make compound path. And that changes the color, but I don't want it to be that color. And I'm going to make it black. Now notice there's one star down here that's not colored in. I'm going to just delete that, but before I do, I'm going to show you why it's not. Look at that. There's an opening right here. That will not color in with paint if there's an opening, and you can see that when I double click on it, there's these 2 red dots. If, you know, I go ahead like this and I connect those together by having them touch, then it does close in like that. But I'd have to mess with the nodes a little bit for this one, because look, it's a little bit goofy looking right here. And so instead of messing with all that jazz, all I'm going to do is just take this guy right here and delete it. Just can click on the nodes and just start deleting them. And it's totally gone. All right. Okay, so what we have so far is the word sunrise, which I really like. And then I'm going to put in the word paddle, sunset, and repeat. So I'm going to come over here to the text tool. I'm going to just type in the word paddle, P-A-D-D-L-E. And if I want to, what I can do is just hit enter and then put sunset, enter, and repeat. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is click off and then click back on those. And I'm going to change the font to what I had used up here. If we go way over here to the right hand side, there's the font tool. And the one that I used, I think, is not A.R. Herman. That's kind of a cool, fun one to use. I think, yes, what I used was this one right here, ZP Falling Star. You can see the words right there. ZP Falling Star. I'm assuming again that I got that from either DaFont or Creative Fabrica. I'm sorry, but I don't remember exactly for sure. One thing I notice about this font is I think the line spacing is a little too big. So I come over here to the line spacing and I'll change it like that till I'm satisfied with how it looks. And you know, it would probably be a good thing to skinny this all down. I'm going to grab it all and skinny it all down so it's going to fit on top of one of these so I can see. And what I should do is probably group this for right now while I'm doing this part. Skinny it down so it's going to fit on here. Okay. And I can probably make that part larger. Like that maybe. All right, I'm satisfied with that. Let's scroll in really far so you can see. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Here's the thing though, if you'll notice, well, first of all, let me change this to black. So I've got to ungroup this and change all of these to black. So I want to change this to black and I'll just turn off the line. And then I'll regroup just these things back together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my Alt key and bring one over, or I can right click on this text and duplicate because I want a couple extras just in case I mess up. All right, so here we go. So this looks really good to me, except for I think it's a little bit hard to read these on top of these dark, on top of this dark lettering here. So what I'm going to do with the font is I'm going to come over here to the offset panel. I'm going to say offset, and I'm going to make a small offset. So really small, just come way over here. And I actually think it was what I had done before was like a 0.5 maybe. Okay, that's 0.45. No, I think I did less than that. Okay, 0.45. Maybe that's a good one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that offset color by coming up here to the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to make it white. Let's see. Will I like that? That looks pretty good. If I wanted to, I could make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I might like that better. I'm going to take this because I don't like what I've done to this. Notice that these are not all totally aligned, I don't think. Let's see. So I'm going to ungroup. And now I'm going to take this group and this group, grab both of them together, come up here to the alignment tool and align them to the center. And so that's to the center supposedly. I think I'll move it over myself just because my eyes like it a little bit more like that. And now I think maybe a couple more. All right, I'm happy with that, I think. Yeah, like that. So I'll offset it again and I'll make it white. And that's way bigger than what we want. So I'm going to start going down and watching it as I go till I get to what I like. Okay, I think I really like that. Okay, so I'm going to undo the, go dark a little bit, get that box again. That's going to be the back, my mug basically. And is it all going to fit and look good? I think so. But I think I might like it to be like this a little bit more. Let's see. So I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of this dot right here. So I'm going to get the eraser tool again and just get rid of that one. And come back up here and see, do I like that now better? Yeah, I like that, but what do you think about this little guy over here? I think I'll get rid of him too. Eraser. There's a couple little guys over there that don't need to be there. Come back and get the selection tool and bring this back over. Whoops, didn't mean to move that. Meant to move this. But notice I can move these if I want to. You know? I mean, you can move them however you'd like to. But I'm pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is, remember, I did put a personalized name on these. So to do that, I'm going to just scroll way in. And where I put the name was right here. Doesn't matter where you put it. You can do whatever you want. This is your mug, your design. But I'm going to put a name there. Let's see. I will put... I'll put Robbie. She's one of the girls that kayaks with us. Click off and click back on. And then I'm going to change this. I think I just changed it to Arial. So I'm going to come over here to this font style. And I'll change it to Arial. There it is. And I'll make it really, really small so it's going to fit. Oh, and something else I remember that I did do is I made it all capital letters because I thought that looked better. So I'll do that again. Okay, there we go. And so then again, I'm going to have to make it still a lot smaller. And I made it black. And turned off the line color. Then I just brought it over here and just twirled it so it fit right in there. And if you have trouble moving it, use your arrow keys on your keyboard. Oh, and I put besides the word Robbie. And notice I can still edit it. I can put a dash 21 just so we have the year that we did this. So that's all there is to it. let's put it on our mug. Here, let me, first of all, before I do anything else, let me right click and group all this and squish it all together and bring it over here so it'll fit on our fake mug. So let me take this, ungroup this, and I'll take this one off. I did make it a little bit different this time. That's how you can really personalize them too. And so again, this size would be, what did we discover originally? 3.5. Of course, I don't know if it'll fit on this fake mug, by 4. So you see how that's going to go, just like that. And of course, this would be rounding around. And this mug is actually, well, that's what the back would show like. And as I said, I could use some tools to make this fit more on my sample, but this is just to show you guys how it works. So the next thing I would do is, let's get rid of the mug, this thing. I could put several of these on the same page. I don't need to put my registration marks on here because I'm just going to cut with my cutter around here. And again, I could make this large enough to go on a t-shirt if I want to. And if I was doing that, I'd probably make it about 8 or 9 inches wide, something like that. So, but for my mug, I would make it 4 inches wide by 3.5. So that is all I would need to do. Then I would go to File, Print, Print. I would print this on the one that I use. I have 2 Epsons, one that I use for sublimation and one that's for regular. This one is my sublimation one. I would click on Preferences, and then I have a preferences set for my sublimation printer. Plain paper, bright white paper, high, color, etc. And I would say okay, but I don't have any paper in there right now, so I'm not going to do that. And today's video isn't going to show the actual process of making these mugs because I've already made them. But what you need to know is you do not need to have a cutting machine whatsoever, a Silhouette, a Cricut, a Brother Scan and Cut. You don't need to have any of those. All you have to do after this is printed is simply take your scissors and just go ahead and take your scissors and cut. Well, let's get rid of this. All you need to do is take your scissors and cut around here. Now, I would recommend that you really try to make the top and the bottom absolutely straight across so that it's easier to know, whoops, send to the back, where you need to place this on the top of the mug. So in other words, let's get rid of that, delete that. And when I'm cutting with my scissors, pretend this is my scissors, I would make sure that I cut perfectly straight across the top here, right? Like this, just as straight as I could, and across the bottom, because I want all of this to be easily lined up here. And so that's not quite straight, but I can make it straight. There we go. And that's how I would cut that and then place that on my mug. If you're not sure what I mean, I will link right above this yesterday's video where I show all the steps of using the sublimation mug press that I have, the 4-in-1. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you love these mugs and you'll make some too. And if you do, I'd love to see the pictures that you guys make. If you have any questions, leave some questions down below this video. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends. Thanks again. Bye-bye, y'all.